Hello, everyone. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes for everyone to roll in, and we'll get started. Hey, Dave.
Hello, hello.
Hello, nice to finally meet you. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. And yourself?
Very good. Very excited for this space. We love your product, and yeah, in 1 minute, we will get started with the intro and introduce you and Nimi. Is that how you say it,
Yeah, that's
Nimi?
the perfect pronunciation. But yeah, sounds great. I'll grab a drink as well, and I'll be back in a minute.
Sounds perfect. And for everybody in the space, please retweet so that more people can join and learn about NIMI, the NIMI project, and what they're doing for the ENS community. We really appreciate it. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Um, we're going to give it just 30 more seconds and we'll start with the intro. I'm going to I'm going to think about some kind of music to put so we don't have dead space time, a dead air time like this. But yeah, if you guys have any recommendations, hit us in the DM and we'll put it together. Welcome, Ron. Welcome, everyone. All right, I'm going to get started. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Please retweet the space so that more people can join and benefit from this interview. Uh, I want to introduce ENS Academy for those who are joining us for the first time. Our mission is to accelerate the adoption of ENS worldwide. We bring ENS experts and entrepreneurs to share their knowledge with the global community. Our goal is to educate, support, and empower anyone who can benefit from this technology. We believe ENS to be an open public good that belongs to the community. ENS Academy aims to be the place where we can all learn fundamentals, skills, and possibilities of ENS. We hope to provide these focused interviews and provide quality content that will add value to the community moving forward. Today, we are honored, we are very excited to have Nimi and the founder of the Nimi project, Dave, to discuss their awesome product where it's like Nimi is really a decentralized social aggregator that lets you create your own personal Web3 profile page, and it just works automatically. So you can go right now if you have a .eth, my .eth is like, for example, luckyrando.eth, and then I can put that in any browser and add .limo at the end, and then you'll see your Nimi profile. You can claim it and start editing your profile yourself. So it's really cool. I think that since they launched, like they're almost at 1,000 profiles created, 1,000 websites, and it's like the link tree killer. It's like a link tree for Web3. So I really urge everyone to check it out. Follow their nimi.eth Twitter page. And yeah, we have Dave with us today. Hello, Dave. Welcome.
Hello, excited to be here, and thanks for the great intro.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so impressed with what you guys did. It's a really cool product, and also I believe you have a Gitcoin grant. I think today is the last day, so we will um, we will pin something about that up on top so people can go and support you. I see you already had such a great success with the grant. We're so happy for you, and I know that you guys will do great things moving forward.
Yeah, thanks very much. We really appreciate all the support. I think we have like over 1,000 people have donated to our Gitcoin grants page, which is really awesome. It's like a validation as well from the community that they like the product, and it just makes the whole Nimi team really happy as well to see this like direct feedback from the community through grants. It's like really amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, well, let me first start with introducing you. Tell us a little bit more about you, Dave, and when you started with Web3, and give us a little bit of background and context about you. Also, what inspired the Nimi project?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I've actually been working in Web3 since roughly around 2016. Originally, I was working for a startup that worked on travel distribution. So we worked with a couple of airlines and hotel chains on distributing inventory on chain. And then eventually, I think 2 years ago or so, I joined DXDAO. DXDAO is a decentralized DeFi DAO that builds DeFi applications such as Swapper, Carrot. We also build our own governance um, into infrastructure. And one thing that kind of how DXDAO stands out from other DAOs perhaps is that we try to push everything to the max of decentralization. So actually all our products are hosted on ENS domains. So like it kind of came very naturally for us or like for everyone at DXDAO that we try to like avoid anything that's censorable or stoppable in like the Web 2 world, and like just replacing all of that with like Web 3 components. And so for us, it just naturally makes sense that we've been doing this for DXDAO has been doing this for 3 years as well. Like all our products are hosted on ENS domains. Whenever we update a website, we do a proposal on chain that gets voted on and actually updates the IPFS hash on the ENS resolver. And yeah, and then a group of us from the DXDAO were actually attending the ETH Amsterdam hackathon back in March or April, I believe. Um, and it was actually that like period where there was like the big everyone was registering those two like 3 4 digit numbers on ENS domains, and like ENS was like really blowing up. And so given that we already had like this experience from DXDAO of like hosting on ENS, and we were also kind of surprised that a lot of people were maybe not even aware that you can actually host content on your ENS domain, right? And so we just thought, like let's just make very simple project for the hackathon, which is just like the idea was like, let's build a link tree for ENS, right? Where you can like put your social links, a couple of details, and then just like publish that directly on your ENS domain. And let's just try and make it as easy as possible, because you it's not necessarily very technical, but you do have to like you have to first build the website, which of course is somewhat of a hurdle for people. Then you have to upload it to IPFS. Then you have to do an on-chain transaction to actually point your ENS to set to that content hash of the IPFS hash. And so we really just made like a really basic website for the hackathon, and people really loved it, and we were like really. It was nice to see the whole enthusiasm from people. We're also lucky enough to become finalists of the hackathon, and so we just kind of decided after the hackathon to like like how can we expand on this and add more functionality and just build a better product. And yeah, so we started adding more integration. So now you can display your PO apps. I don't want to share too much alpha here, or my colleagues will kill me. But we also have like an NFT PFP selector. So in the future, you can like your PFP can be any NFT you own. You can select. We're adding more functionality in terms of more widgets. Right now, we just have the PO app widget. We're adding a lot more stuff there. And yeah, it's also been just awesome. We've received a lot of support from the community. So DXDAO actually gave us like an incubation grant and allows us to spend some of our working time working on Nimi. ENS also gave us a grant, and it's just been really amazing to like see how active and the community is, and how it's great to get support, of course, but also like just getting feedback on the product. And like you mentioned, of course, we are currently running our Gitcoin grant. It's the last day today, and yeah, we've had like over 1,000 donations, and it's just really insane. It's like very motivating and keeps us heads down, working and pushing more features out. So that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, what it shows me is that the community voted, right, by donating to you that they need something like that. It's actually a great sign that what you're building the right thing. Creating a social layer using ENS is just revolutionary, in my opinion. I mean, ENS is going to enable so many people around the world to just interact with Web3 in simple, easy ways that we can't even predict yet. So Nimi is a great step forward.
Absolutely. I appreciate your kind words. And yeah, I think, we definitely agree. And that's why we're like very bullish working on all of this. And it's exciting as well because, whenever we push out new features, we share them in our community and you get feedback directly from the user base. And I think that's like a very motivating way to build as well, because it gives us like quick feedback, and we can just like adjust product direction based on what the community kind of likes, and so yeah, it's really amazing, and we're definitely enjoying expanding and building more features into Nimi.
Yeah, absolutely. Creating a feedback loop is one of the best ways to create a product, a software product. You know, be, Understanding your user base and what they need and catering to that is just going to help you a lot. So, what does NIMI mean? If you can just tell us a little bit about what's the name about.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm actually an avid newspaper reader, and I think like 2 weeks before the hackathon, I read an article on Bloomberg which said that if you're starting a new startup in 2022, the cool thing is to name your startup with a Finnish word. And so, actually, like for 2 hours of the hackathon, I was just looking at random translations in Google Translate, which were like somewhat related to the project, and translating the words from English to Finnish to see what they mean. And Nimi actually means name in Finnish. And to our great surprise, both Nimi.eth was available, and we also managed to snag quite a few Nimi. Web 2 domains like Nimi.io, Nimi.page. So surprisingly, we were quite lucky, and it just fit quite well as well with the whole brand. And at the hackathon, we actually also had somewhat of an illegal branding. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of the Moomin character. It's like a Finnish cartoon. We actually printed some stickers the same night delivery, and so like we went like full in Finnish branding. My grandmother was Finnish, but beyond that, I really have no ties to Finland, and I don't really speak any Finnish. But it was more the Bloomberg article than anything else. And but unfortunately, the character we were using has copyright on it, so we had to drop that for now. And we are actually working on like a branding redesign to give a bit more substance to Nimi. Even right now, like, honestly, I have to admit, our landing page is not the best. It doesn't really describe a lot. But we're currently working on a whole like rebranding, and we're kind of still stuck at what we had at the hackathon, just because we decided to focus more on the actual product than the branding. But thanks to the generosity of the community, we're also have a little bit more resources now, and are like expanding, trying to improve everything, not only on the tech but also the branding, outreach, and everything else that comes along with running a project.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so creative that Nimi means name. I didn't know that. This is really cool. But also, yeah, about the branding piece, I think it's a great sign that without any branding, you guys took off like in a big way. And once the branding comes and you create more content, I think it's going to educate the community about your product and we'll get a lot more onboarding to your product. Yeah, this is great. So, tell us a little bit about how it works. So, if anyone here never heard of Nimi, how can they start?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, the easiest way is you just go to nimi.eth.limo or nimi.io. They're essentially the exact same website. And if you connect your wallet, what we do is we just pull all ENS domains you own under that wallet you connected, and then when you select one, you kind of get to like a little website builder page where you can add all your social links. If you collect POAPs, you can add the POAP widget. And what we essentially do is we just like build a little website on the for you, and we actually then upload this to IPFS. So perhaps those who are not familiar with IPFS, it's interplanetary file system, I believe. So it's like a kind of like distributed file system, distributed, decentralized. I don't know specifically what the correct terminology is, but yeah, it's distributed file storage, and that way it's not hosted on any server, right? Like it's actually like distributed on different IPFS nodes that pin the content. And what we do is, well, actually we changed this, but at the hackathon, on the hackathon project, what we did is we then took this IPFS hash, which literally is just points to your website, and on ENS you actually have a field that you can set on your ENS domain called content hash, I believe. And so what we do is we actually trigger a transaction to update your content hash to this IPFS hash. But however, that's how we implemented it for the hackathon. But that also meant that every time you wanted to update your Nimi page, you had to pay a transaction fee because you have to update that content hash record on the ENS domain with a transaction. It's like an on-chain transaction. And so we actually did a release mid-August where we migrated from IPFS to IPNS. And what IPNS is, it's essentially like a pointer, so it still uses the interplanetary file system. But what it allows you to do is that it actually allows you to update the website off chain. So now we only require users to do one transaction, which kind of sets the IPNS key on their ENS domain. And after that, users can redeploy completely gasless and instantly as many times as they want. And of course, that's like a lot better both for the users and also for us because as we're shipping out new features, we also want the community to test them out. And of course, if you have to pay transaction fees every time, that's a big blocker in some sort of way. So yeah, IPNS is really amazing and we had a great experience with it so far. Yeah, you just have to do one deployment, and after that, yeah, all future deploys are completely gasless. So that's something quite exciting, and we were happy we finally got that out. Yeah.
Wow, that's really powerful. So, basically, you can update any ENS metadata using these IPNS using Nimi without paying gas as long as you did that first transaction, right? That's what
Uh,
you said.
Yeah, so the only thing you can update is actually your Nimi page. Just to be clear, like you couldn't update.
Mm,
ENS has other fields like your Bitcoin address or Ethereum address. That's separate. So IPNS is just for the content hash. So it
got
allows
it.
you to update your Nimi page gasless. Yeah.
Wow, so that's really cool. And basically, to use it, you just go, guys, you go to the Nimi website and you connect your wallet and you can claim your personal profile page. And then you just type in any browser, you type in your ens.eth.limo, and then it'll show up. And you can, like you said, it's like a link tree for Web3, and you can have like give us some of the use cases that you're seeing with some of the people already using Nimi.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the most basic use case, of course, is like a Linktree competitor right now, right? It's like your link in bio, where users can just have like, like on Twitter or on Instagram, all these social networks typically just allow you to put one link in your bio. And so these whole link in bio apps really allow you to have like a customized page where you can share more of your content and then just have users go there directly. And one other thing we're actually kind of really like, exploring a bit more is actually also for connecting in person at conferences. So, if you go to a crypto conference today, it's typically like, yeah, let me scan your Telegram QR code, then let's take a selfie and we send it to each other. And so, if you have a Nimi page, if you have a more recent one, if you click on your profile pic, you actually also get like a QR code that kind of spins around. And so we're like kind of experimenting with this whole like, hey, if we meet in person at a conference, you can either just scan my QR code, or also for DevCon now, we ordered like some NFC stickers. So for anyone who has a Nini page in DevCon, if you see any of the team we can set you up with like an NFC chipped sticker, and then you can just tap, on any phone that had NFC, pretty much any phone today, and then just automatically kind of share your details like that in person as well. And that's kind of like what we're doing now. In the long term, like you mentioned in the beginning, we're also looking to be more of like a social aggregator. So we're currently looking at the whole Lens ecosystem and how we can kind of like integrate some elements of that into your Nimi page. So if you have a Lens profile, you can also perhaps show your most recent tweets. And then, just in general, we're also exploring building out a couple of social features ourselves, and but that's more in the future. Yeah, like for now, it's we still consider ourselves a bit early stage, and I would say, yeah, it's like the link in bio and like in person connection, right? Really.
That's super cool. So you're going to DEF CON in Bogota?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole, well, actually not the whole team, but most of the team is actually heading out. So if anyone is
Perfect.
around there, and uh,
Yeah, I'll see you there. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Nimi profile and get a sticker. I'm excited now. I would love to meet you there. So that's great. Tell us. So you touched on your roadmap. What's coming first? So you mentioned many things, but if you would think Q4 2022 and maybe Q1 2023, what are you guys working on now? What should we expect?
yeah, so I mean, we're doing the first thing we're doing is we're really like cleaning up the whole back end of Nimi. So because we did build it at the hackathon, we didn't focus so much on like longevity and like good data structures. So we're like that the users won't see too much of that, but there we're kind of like rebuilding our whole back end and how we manage the whole processes to kind of just clean everything up and prepare it to be a bit more scalable. And then we're also going to be updating the Nimi interface UI of how you kind of build your app. So even today, it is still quite limited. You can only put one website, and you can only put one of each type that we support. So we're adding a lot more configurability there. So it'll pretty much be like one to what Linktree offers. So if you have 5 different websites you want to have on your site, you can just add those. And then the whole UI UX will also be a bit nicer of how to kind of build your Nimi page. Then one feature which has been requested a lot is actually custom themes. So right now we only have like this one theme that was created at the hackathon. Like we call it the Nimi OG theme. But of course, that's something we're looking into, and we know a lot of people want customized themes, and we're currently looking into like how to best do that and how to like have these like modular designs where every community could even create a theme just for their community, and these could even be like token gated or whatever. So I think that's very interesting, and you could even have like NFT artists creating custom themes, So we're looking at all of this, and we want to plan it out well architecturally, so it'll like long term function, even if we add more stuff or more widgets. That we have this like that it functions well even in the future, and yeah, we're definitely adding a lot more widgets. So like right now we have the POAP widget. We should actually be pushing out an update on that as well. So I don't know if everyone's familiar with POAP, but they're like proof of attendance NFTs, right? And right now we actually just display your most recent ones. And one like big feature request we had there as well is to actually choose which POAPs you want to display, right? Which makes total sense. And I think we should be pushing this out next week or the following, but definitely before Bogota, Um, and we anything we add is also completely optional. So we leave some people might actually like to show their most recent ones, but we'll just add more functionality that if you want to customize it more, you are able to do that. And yeah, I think like on the short term roadmap, that's pretty much what we have right now. Yeah, that we can publicly talk about.
That's great. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us. I think all those UI UX upgrades are going to go a long way. Having themes and maybe create, like you said, creating a marketplace for artists to create these custom themes and enable token gated communities to use Nimi in a way that we don't have today. So this is going to be very exciting. I wanted to pick your brain a little bit and kind of take a step back. What's your vision for ENS, and what do you see the top three use cases for ENS in order, if you would?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, That's a good question. I think, like, first of all, of course, like, identity is a big thing, right? Um, I think, like, even just today, ENS is like really useful for, like, for people who maybe work a lot in crypto, like just going in Etherscan and typing your ENS instead of your whole address. It's just like such a simple thing, and yet it's so useful. But I think, like, there's a lot of work being done around even like login with ENS, and that's also something we've been looking into how perhaps we can help move that effort forward. And so, like, I think identity in general is really big. And of course, I think it's like the domain part as well, right? I think, like, a lot of people have been comparing it to like the .com of blockchains, right? So separate from identity, more like just the pure domain. And of course, we're a big believer in that, given that our whole kind of like project is around allowing people to host and create websites on their ENS. So I think we'll see a lot more adoption there. Of course, one of the issues still that we have is accessing websites, right? So right now you used to need to use a resolver like .limo. We work a lot with the Limo guys; they're really great and enjoyable to work with. Or .link, which went down, now is back up, and I think ENS also runs like .domains. Or personally, for example, I have like a Next DNS account, and like if you change your DNS on your devices, you can then actually natively access .eth domains. But I think for the average user, it's still quite weird, even just to put .limo or .link or .domains at the end of your ENS. It just still doesn't feel native, right? And even I think Brave has an integration as well. I think they're also still working on it, because if you do go on an ETH domain, it used to be this way. I don't know if it's still this way, but they actually just redirect you to the IPFS hash through a gateway. So you might go on nimi.eth, and then it actually resolves. But if you look at the URL, there'll be like ipfs.gateway.infura.com slash a really large hash. And so I think that's something that still needs to be kind of fixed, and whether that's through browsers supporting that, or through people changing their DNSs. I think that's like a really cool thing. And then I think third, is also, I guess, ENSs are also an NFT, right? And there's a lot of speculation going around. And I think, like, yeah, that'll probably stay around for a long time. And yeah, I hope that semi answers your
Yeah,
question.
no, absolutely. That makes me kind of, I have a follow-up question on that. So you mentioned how we're still early and resolving the .eth is still being worked on. What other things do you think that's blocking us from mass adoption? Like, what do we need to hit critical mass for people to start using ENS on a more wider level? Like, I think ENS is just a no-brainer if people realize what it is. But right now, things like that you can't really resolve in a regular browser is blocking us. What else do you see that's blocking us?
Well, I mean, I think, like, onboarding Web2 people, right? And I think this is also something we're looking at with Nimi. I think, like, most projects in crypto today, like, target the existing Web3 user base. And I think, like, one really valuable thing would be to onboard Web2 users into Web3. And I think, of course, we had DeFi summer and a lot of like speculation, and of course, for the average person, that's not, there's like risk involved, financial losses, of course, financial gains possibly as well. But I think, like, ENS or like Web3 social, it's very different, because you don't have this whole speculative aspect surrounding it. So I think it could be much easier to onboard people into Web2. And currently, of course, you still have this like limitation that people, if they want to buy an ENS, they do have to like create a Coinbase account, send some money, buy some ETH, send that ETH to Coinbase wallet or another like regular Web3 wallet that you can connect to websites with. Then to go to ENS as well, to buy an ENS, you have to like send a request, wait a minute, then you actually buy it. And I think it is still a bit confusing, for just your average user. But I think this is also something we looked at with Nimi. If, like, we can perhaps like just take payment with a credit card from users and just buy a domain on their behalf, and like set them up with a wallet through like these like startups that focus on account abstraction, like Web3 Pi or Web3 Auth and Magic Link, which like help you create like Ethereum wallet with like your Google login or your Discord login, and then they kind of like separate the key into different pieces, and they just make it like a lot easier and harder to lose. And I think, yeah, like just the whole onboarding experience, I think, like once you're able to easily onboard like the Web 2 masses into Web 3, that will of course be I think like a really big turning point. And I think like UI and UX is really crucial for that, like making the whole key management easy, and yeah, not requiring like 10 steps to actually first buy ETH and then go buy something. And I think it just makes sense. There will be in the future services where you can just pay traditionally with credit card, and then they will, do the whole stuff on your behalf. And I think that will be, quite cool.
Wow, I agree 100%. I think helping onboard, Nimi is doing a lot to help onboard people from Web 2, and this credit card idea is very interesting. And UI UX is a big friction today because, like you said, it's so complicated for people to figure all this out on their own, to get a wallet and send funds and all of that stuff. But yeah, I want to open it up to the community. If you guys have questions for the Nimi project founder and the Nimi team, please go ahead and request now, um, while I ask my last question. But and for those who joined late, Nimi is it's like your personal profile page on Web3. You can go and claim it for free right now. If you go to nimi.eth.imo, you can connect your wallet and pick an ENS, and then you can customize some of the information you want to display. It's like the link tree for Web3, and there's a lot of features coming. They're aiming to be the social aggregator that lets everyone create and curate and share their Web3 profile with their ENS domain, all your socials like NFTs, POAPs, and more. So, yeah, my question while we wait for people to request, what do you think about soulbound tokens, and how does that fit in your vision?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question. Actually, at the beginning I mentioned, the Nimi team kind of comes from DXDAO, and DXDAO actually uses reputation as like a voting mechanism, and reputation is actually a non-transferable ERC20 token. So that means you can earn the reputation, but you can't sell it. So like all voting power, all voting decisions in the DAO are actually made by rep holders, and people get rep by contributing to the DAO, being useful to the DAO, and so you kind of like don't have the ability to just like flash loan $2 million of whichever token it is and vote. So at DXDAO we've been doing this as well. Reputation has also been around for roughly 3 years, so we've done this more for like a governance approach. um, but I think in general, it's a very interesting concept, the soulbound tokens. And I'm also following along. I don't claim to be an expert on the topic, but I'm also like curiously watching what's developing in that sector. And I think like even POAPs, theoretically, the idea is that you are not able to transfer them, right? But there's also, I guess, the idea if you lose your wallet or it gets compromised, it makes sense to be able to have like some ability to do that. But yeah, no, I think it's very interesting, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of development in that sector over the next couple of months. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think having a soulbound token be your name would be interesting because at the end of the day, even our ENS is transferable. You can lose your wallet, like you said, or you can
Yeah.
sell the name. But I'm looking forward to see what Nimi would do with soulbound tokens once that kind of takes off more. But yeah, for the community, please, we have about 10 minutes left. If you have any questions for the Nimi team, please go ahead and request so that we can get that figured out. And Dave, anything else you want to add for those who joined late about Nimi? What would you like them to do? I would like everyone here to go to your Gitcoin grant and donate even $1. $1 goes a long way with Gitcoin because it gets matched, and those funds will help the Nimi team create that social layer that we all need, and they're providing such good value for the ENS community. So yeah, go ahead, Dave. Anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for the Gitcoin shout out. It's our last day, and it's been our first Gitcoin round, so it's been very exciting to kind of like refresh the page every couple of minutes and see the donations coming in. And we have over 1,500 people. Actually, I said 1,000 earlier. I just checked. It's like over 1,500 people who actually donated. So that's really amazing. But yeah, I think like even just deploying your Nimi page, and if you join our Discord and come give us some feedback and say, hey Dave, this was totally shit. You need to fix this. That's like greatly appreciated. And whatever you find that you would like to see there, we even have like a feedback channel, and you can just drop any request you have in there, and we look at that directly and use all that feedback to actually plan what we build. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I really like what you're doing. I think we will go ahead and end the space early, but I think we covered a lot of good information here about your product and about what you guys will be doing. I look forward to seeing you at DEF CON. And yeah, for everybody here, please go ahead and join their Discord. Go ahead and claim your Nimi profile page. It's really exciting. I went ahead and got mine. You can see it in the comments of the space announcement here. But yeah, I think we would love to have you again in the future to talk about more developments. What more of those widgets that you're talking about. I can't wait to see how when you integrate with Lens protocol and enable more features on Nimi, how it's going to unlock so much possibilities for us at the ENS community.
Absolutely. And yeah, thanks a lot for having me and the Nimi team. It's been awesome, and always happy to connect with the community. So thanks a lot for the opportunity.
No, absolutely. We are going to upload this to our podcast. And so we can continue to share this space so that we onboard more people to your awesome product. And I want to take this opportunity to announce our next space next Thursday. We have Greg, who's the founder of ENS Fairy and the ENS leaderboard. So if you want to learn more about ENS Fairy, the tool that allows you to gift ENS names to your friends and family, and the ENS leaderboard and what inspired that, please join us next Thursday. I pinned the space up top. And Dave, I also want to invite you to use our ENS forum. We have a forum for everyone in ENS to kind of discuss different products, different projects. So you can actually have your own space in there where people can see your tutorials, ask questions, and discuss how they're using. It's kind of like a little Reddit for ENS. So I'll go ahead and create an account for you and send it forward. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And Dave, it's been an honor. I can't wait to see you on DEF
That's
CON.
awesome. Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, and have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you. You too. Have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.